Hello, friends. Welcome back. We're on to the last faction focus for Red Alert 3. We're on to the Empire of the Rising Sun. I've set it in both update and the first faction focus, I think, for this game, so Soviets. But I think the Rising Sun are arguably the best faction in this game. They, like, how they function, everything, how their units work. They're all really cool and everything like that. You know what? I haven't thought about this. I'm gonna make them the color that they naturally come in usually. I think they come in orange naturally. Same as before, red. Okay, let's begin with them though. I don't understand these. That even look at that, man. That's like the coolest MCV in there. Once again, Cranes, please do something. You're here, might as well. But that's gotta be like the coolest looking like MCV, man. That thing is awesome. It's got like a bunch of these like reflective plates on it. It's got like just like a genuinely really cool. It's got like the little forward hub thing that comes out and everything. Let's quickly see them pack up. This is pretty standard though. Very similar to the Allies MCV packed up. Pretty standard though. I think it's not like revolutionary. I like its design though. I like its orange and everything. Well, of course I picked the color orange, but I like the windows and it looked a little more sleek, which I like. I think. Back you back up. Of course, first build these. So the gimmick of the gimmick of the Rising Sun is that their buildings aren't produced the same way. They come out in what are called cores. Everything that is like pretty much a structure is a core at first, and it's really cool. It allows them to expand incredibly fast, and pretty much I'll show it once I get more than one building available to be built. But first, we produce this guy. By the way, there are three. I have to mention, God, these guys' aesthetic is like the best. I'm sorry that this faction focus is just going to be me gushing over how cool the Rising Sun are compared to the other two. But God, look, they're like instant 3D printing their buildings. Oh my God, that's so cool. So look, I can build two other units, or two other structures at the moment. So what you do is you build him, takes a second to pump out the core, build him. Every one of these cores takes like 4 seconds to get out of there. You get these guys to come out, you can place down the dojo core right here, your barracks, get this guy up here. I could build like another one. Their unpack times, of course, are different, but their standard production is the same. Like, what's out core, put down. You could build a base in like at least half the time the others take to build bases. Easter egg, Easter egg. Here's the Rising Sun's ore collector. With this bad boy, he can, instead of having cargo, can flip it into a gun to protect himself, which is really cool. Back to cargo.
Keep it coming.
Goes back in here. They have what is, I think, arguably the coolest smelter too, simply because there's an actual like fire pit in the middle. That makes complete sense. It would burn the ores down into usable currency, so to speak. Don't know who they're paying, to be honest. So quickly, and like I said before, let's do this. We're gonna pump out all these cores like immediately. Because what we can do is do this. Normally you can't do this something like this, but I can do this, build another generator core. Like that. Pump out these guys, put them there, place down the... Sorry. Put that guy down. Place this guy down. And place this guy down. And in the meantime, while they're also unpacking, because I'm just in case I may have not had enough power for these three structures, be built at the same time. I could build another generator core, place this one down. Because all three of these, like, he's going to take pretty quick, and he's going to be pretty quick.
New construction options.
But otherwise, these guys are pretty quick too. Like, oh my god, that is so versatile for a fast-paced,
Construction complete.
like, building structures and everything. It's so good. This is one of your upgrades, pretty much.
New construction options.
Same thing. This kind of a similar structure to allies, but instead of their MCV having the upgrades, each of these guys have upgrades to allow them to build their other units. That way, like, this is arguably, though, the worst version of the upgrading tech kind of deal. I would argue the best is the allies because of their ability to just build it into the MCV and then have all the vehicles and buildings around it take that tech, while the Russians would be the second, the Soviets would be the second one with the ability of 2 structures, while these ones, each structure has its own upgraded tier. So if that structure goes away, so does that upgrades, and if you build another one, you're going to have to go over those upgrades a second time. So I'll quickly, for these guys, start pumping up their upgrades for each of their buildings. As you can see, also, the most amount of units out of the 3 factions, the absolute most, not even comparable. All slots are, like, these are all taken, these are all taken, and lastly, these are all taken. That's so many. And I'll be going over, a lot of these units are very versatile too.
Upgrade complete. New construction options.
Gonna get these all done first, that way I can just quickly go into them once I'm done. Oh, you may notice one thing though. I forgot to mention when I was building all the buildings and everything, they do not have an air, they don't have kind of like an airfield or anything like that. So I'll be going over why that is in a second, especially starting off with these guys. No, these guys. I don't think any of the infantry have the effect of it. So start with the infantry.
New construction options.
Got a lot here, actually, a lot here.
Building.
Here's off the burst drone. They are considered cute, as they are pretty much just like dragonflies, little dragonflies. They can attack. Pretty much, if they go, they're supposed to attack like a unit or building. So if I look at this guy, let's say my own building, I think, or my own units, he can attack them. He can also, I'm so sorry, little guy, you send him into a bunch of units and he just explodes, which is really, like, useful. Next up, we have all the reasons why arguably they're the best.
Training.
I'm gonna start with the Imperial Warrior. These are your standard anti-infantry, just the shotgun boys, and just like the conscripts. They're your standard infantry killers for like the base beginning. They can instead have a beam katana as their secondary thing. So for a while they get a beam katana, they run way faster. They also get a little bit of durability, I think, to help with it. And then they go back to their regular gun. The gun looks so cool. But it looks like the battle rifle, or not battle rifle, just the assault rifle from Halo.
With haste. Very well.
And I'll show their quick little attacks.
It is my duty.
Really nice, kind of in the middle of the conscript and the peacekeepers. Just the ability to shoot like at a mid kind of pace.
It is my path.
Really cool design though. I'm a little biased here. I definitely like this culture's design entirely. Really cool. You got your tank busters. These are your standard. Now, I'll have to try to remember if these guys can attack air.
Did you hear that?
I think they can attack air, but they might not be able to. And that might be the issue with your normal. You don't have like a normal aircraft tanker kind of deal. These guys are really cool. Their design is super awesome.
Blast them.
They got like a beam cannon I think it's really, really cool. I love that beam cannon. And they have the ability to go underground. They are effectively hidden like this.
Oh, he's toast.
And so they stand underground, they wait, pop back up, and they can immediately attack again.
Be still.
Very cool power unit, I think, in my opinion.
Respect the Emperor.
I'm gonna move you guys a little closer.
Over here. Go.
A little closer. Next up, we have your engineer. I'm trying to remember. Unsufferable, unfit men whose values lie in the ability to capture. They really make engineers
You called, Your Eminence?
like just so
I am your engineer for today.
unappreciated. I'm offended by how much these engineers are getting a flack in this game.
I will never forget this day.
Also quite nerdy in retrospect.
Most certainly, yes.
But if they have the
Yet
ability,
another
which is
great
different,
plan.
which is a sprint, which is
Very
unusual
wise.
for them.
With all expediency,
Begins running with shameful abandon for a while, causes fatigue and ridicule. They cannot move once they're done with their run for a good probably like 10 seconds. And
your
they go back to
leadership knows
normal.
no bounds.
I once again not a big fan of this absolute blasphemy they speak about engineers. Engineers are cool. They're super useful support units, and I'm not a fan of this blasphemy.
Training.
Next up, you have shinobis. They're pretty much just think of like ninjas. They're really good as like taking out the inside of structures. Enemy units they're super good at taking out. They can smoke bomb. And kind of stuns units while he runs off.
Yes.
But he's really cool. He is throwing stars. Unfortunately, probably not the best depiction of an Asian kind of unit, I think, in my opinion. It's like a standard, just ninja, I think, in my opinion. But really cool nonetheless. I think he looks awesome.
I
in
await
his,
your command.
like, comparably. He looks so cool.
Training.
These women are awesome, by the way. These are called Rocket Angels. These are deadly women warriors clad in jet-powered assault suits. Armed with photon rocket array. I've
No man can best me.
talked about
Let's fly.
I've talked about really cool descriptions. That's gotta be one of the coolest, I think, in my opinion. That is awesome.
Hightailing it.
So these women that get
Hungry for more?
really rad attacks, get these really cool like rockets. They're super formidable against anti-air and tanks, making them really versatile. They have the ability to switch off their rockets for a whip, which say you're attacking like a
Watch it on.
say you're attacking a like vehicle or human, they'll like lock them, like keep them in place. Super cool. They also fly primarily in the air. They are awesome though. I love these guys. They're so cool. Lastly, you have your Commando, which is Yuriko Omega. She's the, of course, as you can tell, the main focal point for Yuri's Revenge. I like the gameplay of Yuri's Revenge, by the way. I somewhat wish I could have got it recordable, but I'm not too upset about it. It didn't feel like... It felt like its story was like way more involved with just this character, which is not
Are
super
you my
common.
friend? Now look at me.
I wouldn't say... I'd definitely say she's
Anywhere
probably
but
the least
here.
sexualized of the three
Does it
commanders.
matter?
I hate to have to bring up sexualization, but this game really does it bad. Like, really terrible. So I gotta focus on that point when it comes to these women. But she's pretty cool. She's like a psionic powerhouse. She's absolute a beast on the battlefield. She can pick up.
My mind is made
She
up.
can pick up like vehicles, throw them around and
That's
everything.
enough.
She got like a power beam. You see, she's like picking up and slamming down on the ground as her power.
I'm not some freak.
Got a crazy burst that causes like all sorts of damage to
Does it matter?
enemies and everything. She's awesome. The ability to fly like that is so cool to me. She just looks like a powerhouse too, like just pure power. Awesome though. These are your infantry for this. I'll bring him back out. I feel bad for exploding him. I feel so bad. They are genuinely more expensive on average, I think, than your standard other units. So that's where their kind of thing goes off. Here's all of your infantry though. Very cool. I didn't talk about the designs. I'm so upset. I'm sorry. I was going to talk about the designs first. Dojo, really cool. Looks more like tents almost. Looks like two separate tents or two separate like kind of field outposts. Not the most military-esque looking in my opinion, but definitely the most like comfortable looking, oddly enough. Here's their war factory. This is really cool. I like it. I like these little guys in the front. They look like they like kind of spray down the vehicles as they're made kind of deal. Or they 3D print, one of the two. Very cool though. Here's your tech building. It looks like a very traditional, like, Asian-inspired, like, kind of tower building. Very cool, though. I like the little horns coming out of the entryway. Nothing comes in and out, of course, but it looks really, really nice nonetheless. Cool sound, too. And this guy is also pretty standard, just like the other. It's oddly the kind of your naval bases are kind of the worst looking, typically, of all your factions. Just like a big tube. Yeah, this one adds a cool little horns on the end, which is kind of cool, but otherwise they're pretty much just big tube. Also can heal, unlike Soviets. Poor Soviets really do get the like absolute bare minimum when it comes to things, and I feel kind of bad about that sometimes. We'll be going on to vehicles now. You've already seen the ore collector, so we'll be going on to these. And not many of these also, by the way, are gonna... some of them may be also in the naval thing, but otherwise, these are a lot of really standard ground units. We're starting with Sun Transports. Now, these guys are not... they're the only transport that is not capable of attacking compared to like the other two, the Bullfrog and the ACV of the allies. This one cannot attack. Instead, it can transform into enemy vehicles, causing the enemy vehicles not to even target it without like a detection. Really cool. Pretty much drop off any units.
I will take you there.
Super like rad. I love the hover design. God, they're so futury. Specifically, these guys are so futury compared to the other two, which is like the coolest part. I'll bring them over here. Not too much to show off. The awesome design. I don't think there's anything to fix about this design though. Next up, you got Mecca Tangos, which are really cool. Get a good stretch. Oh yeah. I'm sorry, that looked terrible probably on camera, but good stretch needed.
Let's go have some fun.
Very cool. And I'm about to show you why they don't have airfields. Is because a lot of units can transform into air units. That's why they don't have any air, like a specific air facility, is because they pretty much have air facilities in the other units practically. They're really cool. Transforms into a jet and then back into a mech. Really cool. I love their concept, the big old nose kind of gun they got going on, so I'm super into that. They look like big old mosquitoes. That's kind of the thing that I like think about the most when I look at them, but they're awesome. They're pretty much equivalent, similar to like Venoms from Kane Wrath and Tiberian Wars. They're like both air and ground. The only disadvantage is they have to switch back and forth to fight their specific. So if he has to use an air, he attacks air. On ground, he attacks ground. That's his only disadvantage. So it takes him some time to be able to transform back and forth. Cool design though. Like I said, I just think of mosquito when I look at him.
Building.
Next up is the Tsunami Tank. A really cool name. God, these people really did think of like really good names for things, though. I can't lie. These are your standard tanks. Just like the other two, they're pretty standard. I have to show off its attack. So sorry. Same for both. It's this on ground and this in sky, by the way. But pretty cool. kind of really fast. They're not super good against really heavy armor though, so keep that in mind. These guys are your standard ground tanks. Good against standard armor. They attack pretty quick, which is they don't do as much damage as some of the other heavy tanks, but they shoot way quicker. They also have the ability to have nano deflectors, which boosts their defensive, but causing them to, I don't think they're able to shoot while they're, yeah. They can't shoot while they're doing that, so they become more defensive so they can run away. Can't shoot during that runaway. Similar to, I think, what is it? Allies tank. Tri-tread, but the opposite direction. Pretty cool. I do prefer the tread in the front than the back, though. I think that looks a little cooler. More sleek looking, though. Very sleek cannon, too, which is really nice. Next up is strikers. So, these guys are weird. In a sense, they are these guys, the Mecca Tangos, in semblance. Think of them as heavily armored opposite Tangos.
Patrol.
As
What do you see?
you can send them out while they are on the ground. They can only attack air units on the ground. That's their thing. So while on ground, only air. They can become an air unit and they can only attack ground. So they are literally opposite Tangos. And then instead of just simple like gunner bullets, they shoot rockets.
Clear view. Got it covered.
I'm gonna send them back on the ground. Like I said, don't think they can. Yeah, they can't attack on the ground. So
Go.
very cool. The grasshoppers, I love them. Kind of grasshopper design. It's really cool. I like pretty much any two-legged thing. Any two-legged mech is really, really rad in my opinion. So next up we have probably one of the coolest. It kind of makes sense why it's the Rising Sun that has this kind of unit in the Force. Quick break. But you just got like a mech. Straight mech. Like not even getting a straight mech. Like super, super cool. These guys are bonkers, by the way. They're so tough. They are just a mech. They have the ability to shoot like a laser out of their eyes. This is the most kid-based unit I've probably ever seen in a RTS in general. Like, I've never seen a unit that looks like a kid who helped design it. Because that's awesome. His other powers is the ability to bull rush, which means he just like speed, bam, and then break something like no one else. Very like kind of standard, almost like Japanese design for its like choice of design. Really awesome bipedal mech. Like that's so cool to me.
An ore mine has been depleted.
No, why? And lastly, we have the Wave Force Artillery. I think oh yes, okay, so all three have a bombardment unit, like a faraway fire shot. So you got the Athena cannon allies and the rocket like artillery for the Soviets.
We will take them by
Here
force.
is, oh my god, this thing is so cool. It's been a while since I've seen this unit because like I said, I didn't play the campaign, so I didn't see this guy in a while. He's just so layered up and everything. He looks so cool. It's his attack. He's got to get, of course, far away, but he has a charge up and wham! A heavy Gauss cannon, heavy, so good. And then he has a premature discharge, bypass the normal slow firing sequence, and then he can do this. So you can make him shoot really fast. It's a lot less damaging, but it's really quick and doesn't do any damage. He's so cool looking though. That has got to be one of the coolest tanks. Super cool. I love him. I'm gonna try to do something else, something a little smarter for these guys. I'm gonna, of course, build some more of these, and we're gonna build its
Building.
They're super weapons, because I realized in the last one I couldn't super show them off. We're gonna build a couple more of these so I can build up the actual units, like super weapons. Let's do that. God, look how fast, man, this is just another testament to how fast they can straight pump out like things.
Complete.
Look at that, that's bonkers how fast that was.
Complete.
Like, I generally think this base could be completed in like 5 minutes, probably, if you wanted it to be. You get like the 3 main things that need to be built done, and then like build everything in such a speed. By the way, this is your standard land units, by the way. Your land vehicles mixed with 2 of your air ones as well. Next up is your sea vehicles. So, as you see here, we literally have these 3. So it is 4, just like the allies that have uniquely water-based. So we'll bring them out and show off their cool little things. By the way, super rad. I love both of these designs the most out of super weapon-wise. They are so cool.
Command?
This is your sub for them. They have decided to make their sub their mini sub. They're like the really fast, tiny, kind of a little less powerful. So they also have kind of a like run in and destroy themselves, but do large damage power. Of course, I don't have like a unit to do that on. They can come up out of the air, shoot really quick, go up, back down again. A little slow on the down, but otherwise you get a lot of these guys. Are really good, quick, fast, like take out and shoot down kind of units. So really solid. They're worried they're not coming back. Next up, you have the Sea Wing. Looks like a jet fighter underground. That's awesome. I realize looking at this now, by the way, they only have like 3 or 4 actual air units, but no real big air unit, by the way. So keep that in mind. No real big air units for these guys, which is the only thing.
Don't worry about
We have actually they have 2 subs. 2 subs in the form of 2 really small subs. Oh, see, yeah, these guys also have another air unit. So 1 more air unit would allow them to take out aircraft while in the air. Once they go back down, though, so they can submerge in the sea, dive into the water, and they can attack. I think they attack specific targets while in the water. Anti-air. So this is this guy over here. This guy over here. This guy. He can attack air from the water and attack ground from the. I think he can actually attack both ground and air from. So let's see real quick. I didn't check out his attack. Let's see. I think he anti-infantry, flying submarines can cut through infantry and drones. Ooh. Let's see it.
Drop him some rounds.
Oh, really cool. He is just a TIE fighter. Rad concept. We next up have the Naginata Cruiser. This is your heavy set standard cruiser. Kind of think of the Soviet sub. It's this guy, the American battleship kind of thing, the Allied battleship. These guys are really cool. They look like swords in the water. They have two type of torpedo hits. Have like their standard torpedo hit, and then they have torpedo launch like this. So you're like surrounded. Perfect. Really cool design though. Like I said, looks like a sword in the water. So really awesome concept right there. Lastly, we have the Shogun Battleship. This is your like sea bombardment, just like your land bombardment. Every faction also has a sea bombardment. Got the airship and the battleship for the Russians.
day of the Shogun.
This guy, he's probably, he's still cool, very cool design. Another like kind of big sword design almost, but
Behold, the
he's got an
Shogun
interesting thing. He's got ramming speed, allows him to go really fast into a structure or enemy, and then he has the ability to attack. Got really powerful like sonic beams that come out the back end of him, but he does shoot super slow, as you see. It's like probably every 5 to 10 seconds he makes a shot. It is not the fastest.
as planned.
Okay, have him come back. Cool though. I love the gold look, the like oddly gold looking stuff on the sides though. That's really awesome. But here's your specific.
Altitude.
I'll send
all
him back
good.
into the ocean just so he matches his compatriots. He's like really down there, by the way. He's like he's lower than the sub, to be honest. That's really interesting. But yes, here's your 4 specific to air and water. Air for him. Otherwise, you've seen these 3 before. So that's all your units as the Rising Sun. Lastly, we have, of course, the defensive structures, the 2 and the wall. So we'll quickly build. Look at that tower, by the way. That's really cool. Really stable looking tower, like a watchtower almost. So we're gonna do that.
Building.
And then we can build. You can only build, of course, in like lines.
Construction complete.
Really nice, stable, pretty standard for the middle
Construction
wall. I
complete.
think all 3 of them look kind of very similar. UI, by the way, never looked at the UI, but it was super high-tech UI kind of deal. And then 2 of these are each very expensive.
Building.
We'll see if we can actively put these guys out. You have your first like kind of small defender core,
Psionic Decimator ready.
and then you have a larger like big beam core. Let's these boys go. He might bug these guys as he walks by. No, he's polite and just moves around them instead. And just like this, you could have like a ton of these set up in like really fast, like just this method is super cool. It's so fast.
Construction complete.
These guys are cool. The only issue is that instead of like allies who shoots air and ground at the same time, you have to actively adjust these guys depending on what you want them to do. This is their anti-air mode, and then they can always go back to their anti-ground mode. Both modes look awesome. This guy takes a little while to set up. I think I have enough for him anyway. Let's see.
Construction
Yep,
complete.
just enough. This guy's awesome though. He's a lot. So we're gonna quickly show off that attack. I can't show off air, of course, without an aircraft, unfortunately. This guy is huge. He looks like, if you remember, if you don't remember, because I never uploaded it, so you'd have to be someone who had played the game before. If you remember Tiberium Twilight, the Nod's like Shogun dudes, which is such a weird choice for Nod to have them, but it looks like the cannon those guys use on top of a tower pretty much, which is still a cool design, I think. Yeah, that super large. I love that charge up meter on the back. That is so cool. Same thing as the other one though. You can just shoot like really fast with it. I wonder if each of those counts as a hit, because I don't mind a less potent attack as long as it, if that's still attacked, I'd have to figure that out though. But yes, very cool, very cool. He's gonna be over there shooting for a while. We will now show off lastly the powers they have. Let me see if I can get the most different amount of powers here. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, and then lastly I guess one of the. Okay.
Advanced rocket pods upgrade authorized.
So we'll show off these. One of those does not do anything. It's a fortified fleet. Pretty much just makes your naval way better. I wish I could skip over that. Just go like that. So get these two, and these two. You got your advanced rocket pods. Arm your rockets beam forces with even more rapid swirling warheads and chaotic starting. So I can actually show that off though, because this woman.
Disengaging. Your next?
would have like a much longer rocket sequence than before. You got your
Select
quadrant.
target.
Now here's the thing I don't like a ton. They kind of go off really old ways of the way of Asian empires fighting, which one of them is, of course, you send in some planes and they will bomb and kill themselves in the process. They kamikaze. Not a fan of that at all. These are really
Select
cool.
location.
You want some units really fast. You got these bad boys, which are the same as your regular tank busters. You just get like 6 of them. It's like a really fast unit spawn that you normally like. I like unit spawns. They're always some of my favorite powers because you can keep them. Some games have unit spawns that you can't keep. They're like temporary boys, but these guys you can keep these. Lastly, you get balloon bombs, which
Select target.
if you're above their base, launch this on them. It'll come down very slow. You can shoot these guys down, by the way. If you're the enemy, you can fire at these before they drop. Make sure they don't do enough damage. I'm wondering if I can maybe get like 1 more point from something to show off this. I wish I could show off this though too. Oh, look at that! Unfortunately, I will
Point
be
defense drone is ready.
showing off just this guy. What you do is you throw them onto vehicles. Gives them a good old shield. You see it. It'll stay forever, I think, until it's depleted too. Really cool, like Sonic Force shield. It's not super tough. It will go away pretty soon out, like after being hit a few times. So not like an end-all thing, but it will keep it safe for a few more hits, I think. I'll quickly explain what the others do. You got a Robotic Assembly, which makes everything faster. Same thing as like the Russian
Final squadron ready.
one, the Soviets. They have this thing pretty much too, except makes them not cheap in the process. Just makes everything go a lot quicker. Lastly, you got Emperor's Rage, which makes all units attack way more ferociously over time too. And then lastly, for all these units, all these guys now with that honorable discharge thing, yeah, honorable discharge, they will explode after they die. As like a last bonus thing. I guess I could show it off real quick. Let's see, I'm sorry.
In position. Come on, let's fight.
I'm sorry, he's W'd it. Sorry. No, but it explodes as you see right there, like blew up. So if something's like on it, pretty much taking out real close range, it'll hurt them in the process. Lastly, showing off the 2 weapons, the 2 major weapons. You got Nanoswarm. This is only
Select target.
good. You have 2 super weapons, it seems. You got one that's a defensive. These guys can't enter. These guys can't leave, pretty much. Like, so guys can't out here can't enter. Plus, is like if you're really trying to protect them, so you built like a structure that heals in here too. You can like keep them safe for a little while. Lasts about I think 20 to 30 seconds. I think. Solid. There it goes. All those do eventually go away. I never thought. Oh, I guess they go away once the neutrons come in too. That's interesting. And lastly, you got your Psionic Decimator. This is pretty much her power, but on like a grand scale.
Select target.
Man, that's a big area of reading. Whoa.
Balloon bombs ready.
Whoa.
Sleeper ambush ready.
Lord, that is massive. That is awesome looking, though. That's so cool. Man, that thing must hurt. Yeah, those are the 2 super weapons that are included with it. Very cool structures they belong with as well. But I think that's about it. Poor man is going to be shooting forever. I think that's it. I don't think there's anything else I forgot to show off for them. If there is, please tell me in the comments. I totally could have forgotten something. I don't think I did. I got walls thing. This is the final check. The final check. I think I showed off everything. Yep. Okay. I showed off everything. Very cool though. Like I said arguably the best of the three. There might be some arguments for some, like maybe the Allies. It's hard to argue for the Soviets, but it's not at all hard to argue for the Rising Sun. They are supreme in a lot of ways. They're so cool. All their units are rad looking. All their units are effective in combat. They all look really interesting. They have all these cool powers tied to them. Their building structures are also excellently designed and like so quick. I just can't think of a superior faction in this game than this one. But that'll be it. This is the last faction focus. You're not going to be seeing any more Red Alert after this. It's been like a year probably of Red Alert because I just keep taking breaks and everything. So I'm glad. I'm so glad. This is officially, for a while, this is officially the last video of Command & Conquer you will be seeing on my channel. I may come back in the future and do a CNC remastered set of videos, but that one's hard for me to go through because they're all very similar with a few slight differences. Like, and when I say slight, I mean there's probably a couple units that are different for each faction in that. They only have GDI and NOD in there, so it's only the two. And I think a lot of their units are very similar. So there's a mod though that adds every faction of every Command & Conquer into it. I think that's still not super finished. Once it is super finished, I will be doing a video on that one. Because it's awesome because it not only adds every faction to the game, but puts them into the CNC style of that the original version. So it's super cool. I'll be super doing a video on that later. But for now, Command & Conquer is done. I think I'll be heading over to AoE pretty soon for faction focus videos. Those will be super quick because they're really not that different for each one. I'll be showing off like the standards and then later on the differences and such. Otherwise, I'm hoping you've enjoyed Command & Conquer. One of my favorite games of all time. I haven't talked about it yet, but I may have talked about it in an update, but I will be getting tattoos of the Tiberium, specifically Kane's Wrath faction icons. That's going to be coming up here. When I get that, I'm showing that off, by the way, for you guys. I'm going to be super happy about it. I'll figure out the style and everything I want to do, but I'm super excited for that. But as always, I'd like to ask you guys to like and comment. Feedback is always wonderful. And as always as well, I'd like to ask you to subscribe. If you do, I think you're wonderful. If you don't, I still think you're wonderful. Well, it's completely up to you. And as always, I'll see you in the next mission. Goodbye.